Welcome to the Geek Contingent.
This show is rated for mature audiences only.
Now, your hosts.
Welcome to the Geek Contingent, your weekly roundup of the biggest news in the world of geek. This episode was recorded on March 22nd to be released on Monday, the 27th of March for streaming and download via our website, thegeekcontingent.com, and over at iTunes. I'm Brandon, and joining us again this week are Alex, Mark, and Gavin, our audio engineer. We also have our TeamSpeak assistant Jesse in the audio booth. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
What is everyone up to? How is everyone? How was your weeks? What's the latest jams? What's the 411? What's the hottest gossip?
Stop trying to make Fetch Brandon happen. It's not going to work.
You can go shave your back hair now. Bye, Mark.
Oh. And none for you, Glen Coco.
What's up? What's going on? How you feeling, Mark? We missed you last week.
Thank you. I am back. I'm feeling a whole lot better. Generally just normal work sort of things of, my line of work I tend to pick up a lot of viruses and bugs because I work with small humans. And they seem to be plagued with things and pass it on. So, yay for that. Everyone else?
It's been a good week. I'm on annual leave. Alex is happy.
It's always a good week when that happens.
Alex has barely moved from his bed watching Buffy on loop.
Oh dear.
The lengths you go to for this show, the dedication is admired.
I'm just starting season 5.
Gavin?
Well, work, more work stuff.
More work.
Yeah.
Workity work.
Workity work. Yep, that's pretty much been my week and nothing special going on.
Make workers then.
Yeah, it feels like that.
Worky make work face.
Okay, you can finish now.
Okay, how about you, Brandon?
This week was pretty busy for myself, working on chorus stuff. We have our first major chorus performance coming up on the 1st of April, so trying to learn songs for that. A lot of time at the gym. School is getting crazy. We have assignments that are about to start getting crazy because we're nearing the middle of the term already, which is weird. Another crazy thing about my week is that we finally got to announce the special project that I've been working on, and I'm excited to let you all know it. I've been working with a business partner here in Dublin on Token. It's Dublin's first retro-style arcade with a bar and restaurant that's going to be opening here in Smithfield, which is D7. Super, super excited about it. Been working really, really hard on it. Finally announced it. You can check out more info at tokendublin.ie. We're also doing a Kickstarter because we need to raise some extra funds for those with mobility difficulties because our elevator, our lift, is actually out of service. And in order to get it ready and compliant for them to use, it was an additional cost. So super excited about that. And we're really looking forward to being able to offer the full experience to even those that can't walk downstairs. But all of you are invited out. We're going to be opening in May. So please come check us out in Dublin, in Smithfield specifically, Token. I'd love to have you out, and it should be a good time.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, because I know that you've been teasing this for a while. So what kind of games are you thinking of offering then?
We have 42 machines right now. Things from classics like Tetris and Pac-Man to a really awesome game that I think a lot of people are going to like. It's 2-player Mario Kart, and there's even a camera that takes your photo and puts it on the screen and things like that. We have also pinball machines. So we have a pinball parlor that's downstairs, which is another reason why we want to make sure that everyone can access the downstairs. We have pinball machines like Twilight Zone, Addams Family, Funhouse, a lot of cool ones, and the next one we're looking to get is Star Trek The Next Generation.
Obviously. Any other sort of geek and gaming related things? Are you thinking tabletop games or card games or...
Yep, the downstairs, along with the pinball parlor, also has a section for viewing, so we can stream and view like esports or the latest reality shows or anything geek, but there's also tables set up down there so that we can host D&D nights, Magic the Gathering, all that kind of stuff, board game nights, so there is going to be no shortage of fun at Token, and the food is going to be ridiculous. We're doing a play off the pop-up and food truck cuisine that we like to get tormented with on Instagram, so... and we have a head chef that is phenomenal and comes from a very well-recognized background here in Dublin. So we're super excited to have him on board. Yeah, I really can't wait for everyone to come out and have a drink. And let's play some games together.
It sounds awesome. Geek-related drinks, I mean, come on, you need to do kind of like the Slushable Mix or Saurian Whiskey or something. You need some kind of Star Trek drink in there, Brandon.
I definitely want to book out the viewing room for a Geek Contingent party, so maybe we can get all our fans in Dublin in the area and we can all get together, drink, play some games, and have some fun.
It sounds like a plan. Well, first up, we're going to give you the quick geek news and headlines from the last week. This week we're trying something new. We're expanding it a little bit. We're going to treat it more conversational before we go into the main show. Pokemon is looking to gear up for the next installment of the franchise. Game Freak's Tokyo office is looking to hire for 2 new positions. Exaggerated toon-style people, monsters and item models, who has worked on Wii U and PS Vita, and a 3D modeler who will get involved in developing an RPG that's popular worldwide. Could this be the Switch version of Sun and Moon that's been scheduled to be called Stars?
Possibly. Pokemon Moon was the first Pokemon I played since the original one on Game Boy, and man, I couldn't get into it. It got so boring, to be honest. So yeah, maybe it'd be better on like, you know, the Switch or something like that.
Anyone else in thoughts of Pokemon coming to the Switch?
I've just got visions in my head of people walking around holding a Switch, bumping into things, trying to find Pokemons.
That happens already with iPhones.
But I think the Switch is a little bit more expensive or valuable to some people anyway than their phone.
Well, you don't pay for your Switch monthly in your contract.
Exactly.
Well, moving on, Mass Effect Andromeda is scheduled for launch this week and is receiving negative to mixed reviews. Character animation, the open world, the disjointed voice acting, nothing seems to be going right for the soft reboot of the franchise, certainly in the pre-release reviews. Currently, day 1 patches aren't even in place to fix any potential problems. Has anyone played Mass Effect before? Do we know anything of the series? I know I've pre-ordered it. I'm getting mine early, according to Amazon, which is so weird. And I've never played Mass Effect before.
I've heard a bunch of people have canceled their pre-order, that's kind of crazy for someone that's played like all the games. They're like, oh, I read the reviews, so I'm just going to cancel my pre-order. Like, give it a shot. If you really like the franchise, like, don't let other people sway your opinion.
Yeah, and it's the first one in a new franchise. I mean, I don't think Mass Effect 1 was entirely bug-free.
Well, let's be honest, no game is entirely bug-free. No software product ever has been entirely bug-free.
True. I think people are more concerned with the amount of bugs that are coming with the launch and the fact that it went, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, in the industry it's called as going gold, and that means they sent it to be printed onto disc, and with the pre-release build there were still things like the characters couldn't walk properly.
Whoa.
Like they were walking as if they were in a seated position. You know, it was that sort of level of bugs that seemed to make it into the build.
See, I wouldn't be too concerned as a consumer about the lack of a 0-day patch to fix things, because to me that implies that they have been developing this right up until their predetermined release date, and they've been working really hard on it.
Mm-hmm.
And patches will come. It's a brand new game. They're not going to drop support for it as soon as it hits the shelves.
No Man's Sky.
Hey, let's not bring that up.
No, let's
Try
not.
and forget about that. Let that be an anomaly.
And Super Mario Run has finally came to Android devices after a mere 3 months after iOS.
Is that actually live now?
Apparently so. I wouldn't know for having an Android device, but it was widely reported. Moving on to a bit of streaming, Netflix looks to be adding a skip intro button to take you right to the show's first scene. A whole 30 seconds of your life you can get back. I know they kind of already do it on playthroughs of if you're watching multiple episodes, but this seems to be a button in maybe it's a standalone feature.
Now, you see, on that, I'd much rather they implemented a play from the start on every single episode of everything. Because I don't know if any of you have noticed, but sometimes play from start isn't available if you aren't watching things sequentially. If you have watched part of an episode in the past and you go back and you want to watch it from the beginning, it doesn't always give you that option. I'd much rather have that than skipping 5 seconds that I can easily, fast forward on the remote.
True, but I mean, I would then argue that you've got the slider at the bottom, and the slider at the bottom is a lot easier to move back to the beginning than it is to a predetermined value for where the show is first seen, which is different between show and certainly between shows in its own season.
They've kind of had this feature there already, like if you're binge watching and it hits the next episode, it sometimes skips the intro for that show. Not all of them, though.
I think this is going to apply for across everything.
Oh, okay.
So say you're watching The Next Generation, and you maybe come back to it like the next day. I think the binge watch feature would play it for the first one. But if you know the intro and you just want to go into the show, press the skip intro button and head straight into the action.
Or if you pause your binge to go to sleep for a couple hours and then come back to it, it'll start playing the intro for the first episode you come back to, which you might want to skip. It's a nice idea and premise.
The Big Bang Theory has been renewed for another 2 seasons, and rumours of a Young Sheldon spin-off prequel are in the works. Could this mark the beginning of the end for the popular geek-themed TV show?
Is it bad that I hope so before they ruin it?
Oh.
No, I think everything has a natural shelf life, and certainly they might be approaching theirs. I mean, how many more stories can they tell of Sheldon going, that's my seat?
Yeah, I just hope they don't flog a dead horse.
You know what I love about Big Bang Theory? I love the show myself, but my grandfather, who's 92, it's his favorite show to watch. He finds it hilarious, and I love that it brings him a little bit of joy each evening. It's like the one thing he looks forward to watching too. So I'm excited that they have that, because he's 92, so he needs that to keep going. So he's happy. He's kind of depressed lately, and it's sad, but he always finds happiness in that show, he says.
Apparently Ed Sheeran is lined up for a role in the next season of Game of Thrones.
You just can't escape this guy, can you?
But yeah, he is kind of taken over a little bit. He's was it the top 12 or the top 13 of the UK charts?
He's got 9 in the top 10 or something ridiculous like that.
But you know what? He deserves it. The album is great. I love Barcelona.
Anything else you want to say on Dear Old Ed?
Not about him, but Game of Thrones can't wait. Oh.
Well, continuing with the TV theme, DC's Legends of Tomorrow teases a surprise crossover, which is yet as of unknown, as well as the return of Arrow's Kate Cassidy for the season finale. Anyone watch Legends of Tomorrow? I'm one to admit, outside of the odd episode of Flash and Supergirl, I don't keep up with the DC TV shows.
I dip in and out of this one. This one I struggle with to watch constantly, like Arrow or Flash or Supergirl that I can watch constantly. This one I kind of...
But it has Arthur. Nah, well, let's just move on to the next part, which is still within that same universe. The Flash is set to drop the Speedster, or a Speedster, as the season villain for Season 4. So a change-up of the villains and how things go forward.
Meh.
Anything? Meh. There we go.
Yeah. On that same continuous, just one I picked up earlier, Supergirl's meant to be having a musical episode.
I saw that, and it's, because she was in Glee. Jeremy Jordan is a Broadway actor. Then you've got, what's his name from The Flash, who was also in Glee. I think there's that natural talents there that they are exploiting using.
Just want to point out what a listener has just said in our live chat, that I just watched Supergirl. I hate having to watch these crossover episodes because I don't know the other franchise people / things. And that's a fair point, because sometimes they will cross over into another world / universe / whatever, some kind of content in that continuum that people might not be familiar with, and sometimes a little bit of exposition as to what the heck is going on would be quite useful.
And that comment came from Zoshel.
I'd agree, to be honest. I binge watch and it's bloody annoying when you have to then go, oh, what went on in the episode over on Flash, because I was watching Supergirl.
And then it's hard to keep up, and it's very differentiating timelines and how everything intertwines. Yeah. Well, something popped up along the lines of speed, certainly, which is Intel have announced the Intel Open SSD, a sort of new solid state drive. It starts at 375 gigs to start, and it has surprising speed. Now, I'll admit I'm not overly techie and one for numbers, but Alex, you kind of said you would have a bit to say about this because you seem quite impressed.
it's not brand new technology. The speed around, and they've been around in the likes of AWS server farms and everything else for some time. So it's just nice to see it cropping into the home market as such. Probably going to be priced out of most people's price ranges, but the speed is incredible of them.
I'm surprised it's so low though, only $375.
Well, for the solid state, I mean, if you're looking at solid states, they've not hugely crept up above that number in terms of the consumer market recently.
Yeah, the consumer market averages out at 256 SSD.
Well, for those of you who listen in the States, have a look out for something called BritBox on the way, which is BBC hooking up with ITV and launching a long-awaited US subscription for video on demand.
Oh, I saw a commercial for that the other day. That looks interesting. I still get a lot of my US subscription stuff, luckily, because I still have my US subscriptions, and they play here. For some of them, some don't. They're like, oh, you're out of the country, but some are like, oh, we don't care as long as you're signing in and you have a US address.
Yeah, and like a US bank account to treat everything off of, which I find is a big thing. But what I'm wondering is, because from people I know in the States, they got a lot of things from like Netflix and Hulu. Does this mean they will then be disappearing from Netflix and Hulu for another subscription service? Because this kind of links into Star Trek Discovery and how outside of the USA and Canada it's on Netflix, but within, people are having to sign up for another subscription service.
I don't think the BBC or ITV will lose the revenue stream from selling the rights to the likes of Netflix, to be honest. They'll probably run it something similar to how they do their ITV On Demand or BBC On Demand kind of thing. So most recent catch-up stuff's there for the next 7 to 14 days. A few seasons have their back catalogue, but not everything.
Do you think this is kind of a panic stations response from the BBC and ITV, though? Because they are the last bastions of terrestrial TV in the UK, really. And it's very unusual for them to actually join up in this sort of venture to offer content. And is that their response to the popularity of Netflix and Amazon essentially stealing their viewers? Because I'll be honest with you, I do not recall the last time I watched a transmitted TV program.
I wouldn't say not just Netflix, but also like pirating and online. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people doing that because they're like, well, I want to get it now and I want to get it as soon as it premieres in the US. I don't want to wait. So I think this is kind of another answer to that.
Which disclaimer before our lawyers get to us, we here at the Geek Contingent do not condone such activity. Power Rangers is also seeming to be the latest movie to jump on the LGBT bandwagon with characters. It looks as if Trini, as well as coming to terms with being a Power Ranger, is also coming to terms with her sexuality.
Like I've said in the past, I'm okay with LGBT characters and speaking as someone who is in the LGBT community, but I think it's important that there is a reason for it and it plays a part in their backstory. So for Trini, it sounds like you're not just throwing it out, oh, she's LGBT, but there's actually a reason that it plays deeper, and I like that. I think that's important. You don't have to know about every character's sexuality, whether they're straight or LGBT or anywhere else on the spectrum, but if it plays a role in their character and is integral to their story, I'm all for it.
They've also kind of brought out saying that, I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and say Billy is going to be on the autistic spectrum. But it's nice that these sort of things that haven't been mentioned in cinema are coming in. Like you said as well, as long as it's integral to the story and makes a part, all for it. We don't want another sort of 3-second throwaway moment beyond.
Zoshel in chat also brought up another movie that's coming out soon, Ghost in the Shell. Have you all seen the preview for that? Are you excited about it?
I've been tending to stay away from it. I don't know. It's not grabbing my attention.
Or
it's grabbing my attention for the wrong reasons.
Oh, it's most definitely grabbing my attention.
Wah.
Mm-hmm.
Where's our sound for that?
Yeah, we don't have a sound effect for that.
Oh, I do. For me.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, come on.
No, but yeah, no, I like. Okay, so it's Scarlett Johansson virtually naked in The Matrix. I mean, what's not to like? That's all I'm going to say on that.
The Matrix bit as well?
No, I like The Matrix.
Oh, you heathen, Mark.
No, because even The Matrix are going for a soft reboot now as well. I'm like that. Oh, enough. Just let some things lie.
It is coming across as a blatant rip-off of The Matrix, though, isn't it?
From what I've seen, yes. Which is part of the whole wrong reasons as well as... Oh, I'm not even going to get into it. And finally, for the headline section, Apple has announced the successor to the iPad Air 2. It isn't called the Air 3, but instead just called the 9.7-inch iPad.
Or actually, I think they're just calling it iPad, which is even more confusing. But, yeah.
Yeah, they really need to start sorting out the lineup. Or maybe this is the first step in rearranging everything.
Maybe. But yeah, the website just listed as iPad.
I find it a bit weird for Apple, the fact that they've launched this without some big kind of hoo-ha an event. It was just sneakily launched Tuesday at 2:30.
Yeah, because they kind of did that with the red iPhones.
It was a dual launch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, the red looks great, but here's the thing, like, phones are not cheap, and like, you buy a phone to at least invest in a year. Putting out the red model just in the middle of like the season just like throws a wrench in my plans, because like I have an upgrade program, so I can't just upgrade to that. So I hope they offer the red on the 8 or 7S or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, because I'm getting ready to upgrade as well, and I'm holding out for either the 7S or the 8, depending on price. But I do hope the red continues over to that too. Well, that wraps up the headlines. Alex, why don't you tell us what's coming up on the rest of this week's show?
So this week we'll talk Buffy the Vampire Slayer, GamerCon, Beauty and the Beast and possibly the future of live-action remakes from Disney, and laser weapons.
Let's get to it.
So, as I mentioned, I think it was on our first show, or maybe our second, was that GamerCon was going to be happening here in Dublin, Ireland, and it did happen this weekend. This past weekend. And, well, Saturday was... Gosh, how do I put this? There were some big problems. Unfortunately, the event oversold. It's very clear that they sold way too many tickets than what the venue could hold, and then hoped to do a, one in, one out kind of thing. And that didn't really work, as people stood in the queue for about 5 hours to get in. Some only be turned away at the front that they couldn't get in. There are lots of families that have reported in, driving from all over the country, some even from Northern Ireland. So, you're looking at maybe 3 to 4 hour trips for some of these people only to be turned away. Pictures of kids crying, and, these are their Christmas gifts that they got and birthday gifts. It was very, very sad. The organizer, Ferdy, he was even dubbed the most hated man in Ireland for the day. So pretty sad.
Oh, that's an honor unto itself.
Yeah. So Sunday though, so they put up a lot of information on their site about the queues and when to come on Sunday, but they also started offering refunds. And so we weren't sure how Sunday was going to be, but Sunday turned out to be a bit better because so many people had asked for refunds, and the average queue time was only about 45 minutes. I ended up getting there at about 12:30, and the queue was pretty short, and then the queue was gone by 2 p.m. But so it was actually pretty cool going in. It was small. The convention center was held in can only hold about 8,000 people. I got to see the cosplay contest. There were some amazing costumes, but the prizes were really weak. Like, one of the prizes was €125. And I'm sorry, but when you spend time on a costume, even if it is for the novice category, €125, especially with how much this convention was getting, I think they could have afforded a little bit more. And the grand prize for the best, which went to a dragon. I forget the actual name, but it was the dragon from Spyro, the big black one that was chasing Spyro. It was pretty good. And another really good one, which didn't win anything, I was surprised, was a demon hunter from World of Warcraft, and it was incredible as well. But the top prize for that was only €1,000. So main stage was pretty weak. It was like going to listen to the famous YouTubers, and they were just kind of up there taking questions and things like that. But the esports floor was awesome. That was really cool to see live competitions of League of Legends and CSGO, and you could also play around the arena and you'd see other teams competing. And then the main level, which had the stage for the cosplay contest, also had like a retro gaming section with a bunch of old retro consoles set up. It also had like PCs, so that was pretty cool. Overall, good, although I think the biggest concern I have is this puts a bad taste in the mouth of many of our other conventions that are going to be happening, especially if this was the first convention someone has gone to. So, did you guys hear any news about this?
Not really. But I'm wondering, is it the first time they've ran something like that? I can't remember too much if it was
dedicated video game convention, but definitely not the first gaming convention. And there's a lot of those gaming conventions that posted like articles about like, apologizing on behalf of the person who running it and letting them know that's not like the conventions and don't let it put a bad taste in their mouth. And the person Ferdy even deleted his Twitter account over the weekend because he didn't want people to message him, and now he's back finally, but it's protected. In addition to that, they also changed the terms of service of the convention during the event and stuff. It's kind of crazy. So hopefully some lessons learned. They did post a big apology, definitely heartfelt, or at least it was heartfelt from the lawyers. But hopefully it does not put a bad taste in the mouth of everyone else.
Yeah, if it was the first time running at something like that, maybe it was a lot bigger than they expected and things had to change. But like you said, they put out an apology and hopefully it's lessons learned for the next time. You'd be slightly worried if they kind of just went, well, this is it.
Yeah, so. It was definitely bigger than expected, but they knew how many people were allowed in that venue. And then when they sold out of tickets, they started selling more. And, I think they sold for each day 20,000 tickets when the venue only holds 8. That doesn't really work, especially at a game convention. You don't go in for an hour, you stay for a few hours. Anywho, so yeah, hopefully lessons learned, but yep. I know, Alex, you're pretty happy about a certain anniversary that just passed.
Yeah, don't look now, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer just turned 20 years old.
Don't make me feel old. I'm already feeling old about having to go older this weekend.
That makes me feel young. I thought I was only like 2 when that came out.
Yeah, 20 years, can you believe it? If you're having trouble believing that it's actually been that long since Sarah Michelle Gellar grabbed a steak and got busy, that's because Ross Whedon's supernatural action comedy about an unlikely teen saviour did the impossible. It managed to stay relevant for 2 solid decades. In fact, the world needs Buffy now more than ever, if you ask me. So, over the course of 144 episodes, Buffy upended the tropes of teen comedy genre television, on which her show was built, often in ways television and movies still struggle to replicate. I mean, some of the things that it would touch in on, the subject matters and everything else, are unbelievable. Thanks to Whedon and his insanely talented writing staff that included Jane Epson, Drew Goddard, Marty Noxon, Buffy kept pushing the stylistic limits of the genre. The silent episode, the dreaming sequence, which I watched today, I forgot how good that episode is. It's not a broadcast as in the name Hush.
Yes. Oh, I loved that. I absolutely loved those ones.
There was about, I think it's 15 minutes of dialogue at the start, and the next half hour is just background noise and pieces of music. Unbelievably compelling the way it still held you. I still to this day can't believe it. I can't think of another show that has done something of that style.
And the comedy they managed to fit in that one episode with it being totally silent. I'm always going to remember the scene where they're sitting in like the university lecture hall and Buffy like motions that she's going to stake someone, and it looks completely different from the point that they're sitting, and everyone just looks as if to go, what the hell?
I don't know if you spotted it, Mark. I know you're passing in and out Whovian, but do you recognise anything from that episode that has inspired another show?
Stone Angels?
Nope. Right show.
No.
The Silence from Doctor Who.
Ah.
That entire episode was inspired by that episode of Buffy, The Hush. So for you guys, what made Buffy such a success in your own opinions?
I will credit Buffy from where I got my sarcasm and humour. That at a young age really sort of hooked me in, that sort of young adult, edgy comedy meets drama and everything. It was like my version of like what people would consider like their One Tree Hill or their OC. And it was this fantasy and this escape, and it was a different telling of like vampires and monsters that you've seen before, and that day to have a strong, powerful female lead is something that really resonated with me. It's someone that really got me.
Yeah, what about you, Brandon? Do you ever watch? Have you ever seen an episode?
I've seen random episodes, but nope.
So what would you say then kind of turned you off from it? Because if you're geeking out about it, is there something you can put on specifically that didn't draw you in?
No. It's not that it didn't draw me in. I just didn't have time. There's only so many shows I can watch, and I had other shows going on at that time.
So you're adding this to your queue of like 30 shows now?
I don't think so. But should I?
Yeah.
All right. Twist my arm. Twist my...
Oh, okay. We're going back down to the nipple.
Twist... Twist that stake in my heart, why don't you?
I've never seen it either. Not really. My partner likes it, and she will watch the occasional episode if it's on a rerun on some TV channel. But for me, it was just a bit too it was like an even younger teenage version of Charmed. Is how it came across to me, and I don't mind watching an episode of Charmed if it's on and there's literally nothing else to watch. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
I can see that comparison. Yeah. I think for me, what made it stick out so much is how many real-life scenarios and issues that it touched in on, but it never got depressing, it never got heavy, that it was sad to watch. There was moments of sadness followed very quickly by a giggle or a laugh. I mean, they brought in 98, that they brought in the sort of first gay reference for a character, which for its time is amazing.
Do you think it paved the way for other shows in the same sort of feel, not the same genre, but stuff like Glee and shows like that? Do you think it was like
a launch pad?
I think it definitely opened the doors for writers to be able to write things like that and not worry about getting it through the viewing boards or whoever approves shows and commissions them from the television channels themselves. They've seen that these kind of subject matters could be big hitters and could pull in big audiences.
How well did its spin-off, was it Angel, do?
I was never a huge Angel fan myself. It was a decent enough show, but I was never a David Boreanaz fan, as fit as he is. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling this episode, not my cup of tea, because the amount of times that's been said. There we go, that's the episode title for this week. For me, Angel didn't really pick up until Buffy stopped. It started off as like an ensemble show, and then it kind of went backwards and forwards. But when it wasn't living under the shadow of its big brother, it really started to sound like the last 2 seasons were amazing. They took risks with characters. They weren't afraid to kill off major characters and bring them back long before Game of Thrones made it popular. But it shall always have a special place in my heart. So shall dear Buffy. The long-awaited live-action remake of Disney's Beauty and the Beast has finally been released to cinemas and has been polarising patrons ever since. Those who love it. Those who haven't been a fan have their critiques. Me, as a lifelong Disney fan, I have my feet in both camps. Give a bit of a mini, as much of a spoiler-free review as we can. So if you've not seen it yet and you want to, here is your warning now. Skip ahead a little bit if you don't want anything spoiled. The movie stays true to the original. There are many iconic moments, songs and characters that are all honoured. There are, however, changed moments, additional story and songs that are brought in to refresh and expand the story to give it a more fleshed out and realistic feel, much of the tone of these Disney live action remakes. Here's where the polarising begins. The new material seems to be throwing people off. However, I'm making this as spoiler-free as possible, but won't tell you much more further than that. I do have my own critiques and praises for the movie. The additional backstory for Belle was welcome, certainly a welcome addition. Disney seemed to be finally getting around the whole exploring and expanding of what happened to the mothers of Disney princesses. It could have been done slightly differently without adding an extra level of complexity to the story. Certainly some CGI moments from the trailers are explained. Emma Watson, though, visually looks the part for Belle. There is no denying she's a funny girl, that Belle. Sorry, getting that in there. However, her singing, in my IMAX screen, it sounded a little more than auto-tuned in some places. There were some honest moments where you go, yep, that's been through a couple levels of processing. Listening back to the soundtrack, though, it's not there. So, the Prince, more handsome as a beast, in all honesty. The visuals, absolutely stunning, but what really stood out for me were Joss Gad and Luke Evans as Gaston and LeFou. They really stood out. I would question the characterization of Gaston at the first part of the movie, say the first third. You actually feel sorry for the guy. He's chasing this girl who doesn't want him because he's just him. He's a war hero. He doesn't want to mess about with the town girls anymore. He wants someone to settle down with, and he thinks this gorgeous girl is for him. And there's times where Belle slams the door in his face and you see Luke Evans and you just feel, oh, bless. But then he goes and does something that wasn't in the original that was so horrible that makes you hate him on a whole new level. It was horrible. Generally, as a music geek, I also found the soundtrack simply incredible. Though that start sequence, that main intro, it set chills down my spine. To look at the whole controversy around the movie, though, this whole gay moment or LGBT moment, this is where it's going to get a little spoiler filled. I'll just make some passing references to it. It amounts to a few seconds of screen time. LeFou is obviously in love with Gaston, but in all honesty, who hasn't seen that idea floating about Facebook or BuzzFeed in the past few years? There's a scene that's recreated where the wardrobe in the big battle of the castle dresses some of the men up as females. Only this time, one of them quite likes it and seems to thank the wardrobe for this new get-up of dressing in drag. And at the end, LeFou bumps into a townsman during a dance scene. They lock eyes, and it's presumed they have a dance. That's it. It is Star Trek Beyond all over again. Much ado about nothing. It's nice it's included, but like we were saying earlier, it didn't do much to enhance the story. It was thrown in, it was wedged in to let's try and, well, I appreciate the idea of normalising, for lack of a better term, that this is acceptable sometimes putting it in just for the sake of it, it makes you feel as if you want to leave it alone. However, looking to the future of Disney live action remakes and the points we want to get to, we are looking at a live action Little Mermaid, Aladdin and Mulan. As well as the Beauty and the Beast, we've had the Jungle Book and Cinderella, and it looks like this is going to be Disney's future. Mix that with their own animation studios that brings us Frozen and Moana, Pixar and their cinematic golden touch, their live action with Marvel and Star Wars. The days of hand-drawn animation seem to be at an end.
No.
And what do we think about that?
Well, first off, I'm seeing the movie. Well, by the time this show's out, I'll have seen it, but I'm seeing it tomorrow night. Taking my gal friend's little daughter out to see it. I promised her I would. So, but I used to love, animated movies growing up, but like the old school animation. And I wasn't the last one they did. The Frog Princess? Was that the last one they did that?
Yeah, Princess and the Frog. I'm pretty sure it was the last.
Yeah.
Animation.
Like I like, 3D, and they're getting really good at I finally saw Moana and that was just stunning, but gosh, I really like the hand-drawn animation.
Moana mixed in a little hand-drawn animation. The whole Maui and his tattoos is all hand-drawn.
Oh, okay.
But it was added in. It wasn't the whole movie.
I don't think Disney want to compete with their own studios that they've bought, the likes of Pixar, who specialize in either complete CGI or CGI heavy stuff, and the movie going public in the last decade are expecting a higher output of product, and hand-drawn animation isn't conducive to that. It takes years and years and years for Disney to make a hand-drawn movie. They're moving with the times, and I think it's sad that it's going away, but they're doing what's right for them.
Yeah, it's you can see it, it's true, it's a little sad, you don't want to admit it, it's a little alarming.
I don't think it'll be the death. I think it'll definitely become a case that it'll be once a blue moon, there will be a big hand-drawn animation, and it'll maybe be on an anniversary or a big special occasion for Disney or something along those lines.
But it's not what they're going to specialise in now. It's going to be live action stuff. They have so many sub studios now that specialise in like I said, in animation, that they would almost be competing with themselves, and that isn't really going to work. You say to people now an animated movie, and people expect
they think Minions.
What's the studio that did Minions called?
DreamWorks.
Illumination.
Yeah, so they think Pixar, DreamWorks, or Illumination, and Disney doesn't even come into it anymore.
Yeah, but Disney owned Pixar.
Exactly.
They realised they couldn't compete with it, so they bought it.
So they've tried with their own. I mean, Frozen was visually decent. I won't comment much on else. Moana was absolutely stunning.
You've got to remember that Disney is it's focused towards children and families, and you can't put up in the modern day hand-drawn animation anymore and expect the same kind of attendance and DVD/Blu-ray purchasing, because the kids aren't going to buy it. They're going to moan and whinge, oh, it's not computer animated, and the parents are going to go, right, okay, we're going to avoid.
Yeah, throw a movie like that up against like Minions 3 or 4 or whatever the hell is next, and it is going to flop and fail.
Exactly. So, Disney are doing what's right for them, and although it's very sad, I think Alex might be right that maybe once a decade you get a big special. It's not going to be their main product anymore.
Well, moving on from that, heading to a different type of Disney castle. Brandon, you have some information on some Death Star style weapons that are coming into science fact from science fiction.
Or, Death Star, or, Star Trek ships, or any of our favorite sci-fi shows that have laser beams destroying things. Yes, this isn't the first time, but Lockheed has successfully developed and tested a 58 kilowatt laser beam, which beat last year's 30 kilowatt model. So what's really cool about this is...
Can I ask something? What does that mean?
What'd you say?
What is a 58 kilowatt laser next to like a 30 kilowatt laser? I mean, I've got a microwave that's 800 watts. So is that kind of close?
It's so close. Yeah, you could basically build this at home right now, Mark.
Okay, I just need to take the cameras out the microwave.
Well, I know... oh, God. I know that... I don't know exactly how much better, but I know it's a lot better. It's probably exponential. But, I don't know the specifics on that. But I do know that this laser technology provides basically an unending supply because of science and how it all works. But these beams travel at the speed of light, so you have instant contact. You can have contact with multiple targets. You can have a deep magazine, and it's small enough to be carried on tactical platforms like a plane or a boat,
a ship, or
exactly. Also, it causes an effect like an explosion or fire without any sign of what caused it. So that can be kind of scary. You don't know where it came from. Also,
it's the Force.
I know. Cheap, fast, small, and there's like a ton coming at you all at once. So these lasers can be really, really good for that. The 50 kilowatt laser beam was tested on rockets, UAVs, small boats, and it even burnt a hole through a truck. So it works, that's for sure. Lockheed wants to get to 100 kilowatts and beyond. And they really think that this is going to be the future of weaponry and be side by side with kinetic weapons on the battlefield.
I really like something Zoshell said. Develop these weapons for mining and good things, not necessarily defense.
This is definitely for defense. That they're building it for defense.
Well, this wraps up episode 5 of the Geek Contingent, and we thank you for joining us for our 5th episode.
Remember, there's lots of ways to get in touch with us. If you want to touch us, send us a tweet to @GeekContingent.
And continue touching us on Facebook by dropping a like at facebook.com/Geek Contingent.
You can also email us at incoming@thegeekcontingent.com, or why not head over to our website and comment on the post for this show, thegeekcontingent.com/EP5.
But before we finish up, a special thank you to our audio engineer Gavin and our TeamSpeak assistant Jesse for their skills in putting the recorded and live shows together.
Mostly though, we want to thank you, our listeners, both listening now and listening live, for joining us for episode 5. See you next week, and until then, keep it geek.
You've been listening to the Geek Contingent. Tune in again next week for more news, reviews, and opinions on all things geek.
How do I move people to the naughty step? How do I move people to the naughty step in this place again?
Just drag them there.
No!
Alright. Consider this a warning.
I've said it before and I'll say it again on record. Gay man, but Elijah Dushka could probably have me. Actually, could. No, probably. Or why not head over to the website and comment on the post for this show, thegeekcontingent.com/EP5.
You did it again.
Not forward stroke.
Forward stroke is something else.
They're both valid, you're all just perverted.
We went over this last week, Alex.
I know.
Come on.
Don't go over his
because I
helmet.
wasn't here last week. Oh my god.
Too far. Okay, again. You can also email us at
I'm forward stroking.
Honestly. Let's press
At least we
stop.
didn't do https //